Hello and welcome back to another episode of the WildTalk podcast with myself, Corey, and our co-host Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hello, mate.
Continuing this what's the word I'm thinking of? Visage, is that the word? I don't know. Well, we pretend that we haven't just spoken for half an hour.
This illusion.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, this illusion where our recording time is the first time we speak all day.
Yeah, although we didn't really cover much of what we've been up to, did we?
No, we actually just spent most of the time chatting about your partner's age, which I didn't believe.
Yeah, there you go.
Which I do believe now. I do.
You do believe because you asked for ID proof.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was the same with my partner Susie. I didn't believe her age when we first got together. And, yeah, I needed photo evidence that she was. Obviously, we've both gone for older women, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Yeah, Susie's 6 years older than me. And how old are you, Dan?
So I'm 25. No,
yeah,
I'm 26.
Oh, 8 years between you two.
I'm 27.
Do you know what, I think we need an older woman to keep us in line, I think.
Because we are just
children. That's it, yeah. So anyways, before we get off topic, what have you been up to this week then? You've just said that you've been off work since Thursday, which was only yesterday, actually. So you've been off work since yesterday.
It was only yesterday, yeah. What have I been up to? So I went to photograph the Starling murmuration. You might have seen that on Instagram, mate.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That I really enjoyed the footage. It was very nice.
That editing that together was horrific.
Oh, see, I found editing mine together quite easily.
It's because I'd filmed all the video footage in a landscape orientation, not a portrait orientation for Instagram. So every single time I edited it, it was stretching everything, and then when I exported it, it just wasn't the quality that I wanted. So that's basically why.
You just need to learn video, I think.
I do. I'm terrible at it. I'll just do it in the spur of the moment, and then I'm like, oh, I can't use any of that.
When I first started doing YouTube and that, I used to spend ages, like 2 days editing my vlogs and stuff together. And now I'll just throw it all into Premiere Pro, quickly wrap it together, a few transitions in there and slow everything down and bam, that's it. I'm done in 20 minutes.
It's just, it can be so time consuming just sitting and spending hours just trying to smash together a video. But apart from the Starlings, we went on a 6 mile walk today around the quarry looking for goats. Didn't see any goats.
How did that go?
Yeah, not well, mate. Not well at all.
Not well at all. So it's probably gone better than my day because I was supposed to go to Scarborough on the train to photograph the turnstones after getting a bit of advice from you and doing a bit of landscape photography. And because of the heavy snow, Hull, obviously you've been to Hull, big crappy city, the full city went into standstill. I waited 40 minutes for a bus from my house to the city centre, which takes normally about 15 minutes for me to get on the bus and get to town. Waited half an hour for a bus, didn't turn up.
Yeah, lovely. We love to see that.
I missed the train by 2 minutes. I had my friend Luke sat in the train station ringing me. He was like, the train's not here. I think you're going to be right. It's delayed. And I got a phone call as I was getting to the station doors. Oh yeah, it's just left. I was like, for God's sake. But we had a change of plan. We went up to local woodland and nature reserve and just did a bit of wildlife. And then found a pond which had a lot of red-crested potsherds in it, which were very, very, very friendly birds.
Uh-huh.
They repeatedly came up quite close to us. It had some muscovy ducks in it, the big ugly things.
Oh, yeah.
It had some wood ducks and mandarin ducks, and we just spent an hour there photographing them. Got some lovely photos of them.
Nice. A bird I've not really photographed, the pochard, before. I've seen it at St. Aidan's, but yeah, I've never photographed it.
Whenever I've tried to photograph them, they're just so shy and flighty. Yeah. And then this pond, there must be about 8 maybe, and they were brilliant. The muscovies, the second I can, edge of the pond sits about 2 feet above the water, but then at the edge of at the bottom of this platform, there's like a little ledge. So I was laid on the top with my camera at the bottom, screen tilted out so I could try and get the eye level shots. And then the muscovies just kept coming up to my camera lens and stuff like that and trying to get see if I had any food or anything. And just obviously. Muscovies are 9 times out of 10 domesticated birds. Obviously, they're not native here. They're domesticated birds that people just kind of let loose and escape.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. Yeah,
sounds fun. Oh, I managed to photograph collared doves as well today, which was quite nice.
Collared doves?
Yeah,
in my garden on a daily basis.
Do you know what? I don't see them around my area of Yorkshire much anymore, so it's always nice to see them.
It's because the locals eat them.
Yeah,
they're all feral, bloody troglodytes.
What do you mean feral? Doves well posh to eat.
Yeah, I mean, you just spear them in the back garden.
Oh, we spear them in the back garden. Okay.
You get one of those tuning forks from Aldi, it's in the weird section, and
pitchfork from a garden shed.
Yeah, just trap them when feral pigeon isn't available.
Oh, yeah, our normal delicacy.
Yeah. Let's. I don't want to talk about eating pigeons because it makes me feel a bit queasy because I know how grim feral pigeon is.
yeah.
I'm gonna do my speech of the week rather than at the end of the vlog because it's in my head now.
Vlog? We're doing a vlog now.
Podcast. It's because I've just mentioned the word vlog for YouTube. The beginning of the podcast. You might be surprised with this one because it's a very common bird, but I was photographing it today, put it up on Instagram, and I absolutely love them. So my species of the week this week is the robin.
Oh, fitting.
I love them. You don't sound very impressed about that.
No, I just didn't expect. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, they're I love them. I've got some very interesting facts for you as well.
Go for it.
So male robins are that territorial. They will more often than not fight to the death defending their territory, especially this time of year as it's come close to nesting season. They male and female are pretty much impossible to tell apart, which obviously a lot of birds you can tell different, like blackbirds, for example. You can tell the difference between male and female and so on. But you can't with robins. Did you know that every single robin has a completely unique red breast pattern?
I did not know.
Every single robin's breast pattern is completely unique. They used to belong to the thrush family, so blackbirds, redwings, fieldfares, missel thrushes, songthrush, blah, blah, blah. But they're now classified as an old world flycatcher. There's 3 species of flycatcher. You've got spotted flycatcher, pied flycatcher.
Yeah.
And then robin. I don't know if I'm missing one. No, I'm not missing one, am I? Spotted flycatcher, pied flycatcher.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't know. But yeah, there you go. That's it. That's my speech of the week, just the robin. And it's because I'm a huge Hull Kingston Rovers fan, which if you're not listening, it's a rugby league team based in Hull. And our mascot is Rufus a Robin. We are known as Robins, the Red Robins. Our anthem is the Red Robin. And we kick off in 55 minutes against Warrington tonight, which is a very tough game. But that is slightly the reason why I chose the robin, because the robins are playing tonight. Hopefully that's not too biased.
No, not at all, mate. Not at all. It's a great species of the week.
Yeah. You don't appreciate rugby, do you?
No, not really. Nah, more football.
It's a Yorkshire sport, isn't it? You don't often find it. I mean, rugby league, anyways. You don't get across the rest of the country. Obviously, you've got Bradford and Leeds near you, and many other teams, Castleford and Huddersfield, but no, rugby league is very much Yorkshire. Rugby union, on the other hand, this is my sly way of introducing our guest. Rugby union is more of a posh man's sport, like you find down south in places like Cornwall. So speaking of Cornwall, I would like to introduce our guest today, which is Richard Birchett. Hello, Richard.
Hello. Evening, guys.
Evening.
Hello.
Hello.
I mean, we can ask how you're doing. I don't think we actually asked how you were doing when we caught up beforehand. How are you doing, Rich?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, just looking forward to spring. Weather's been
tell me about it.
Crappy. So looking forward to things are starting to progress now. So yeah, welcome spring. That's for sure.
How's the snow down in Cornwall?
Well, as always, none. Zero. But
we had a blizzard start at about 8 o'clock last night till about 11 o'clock this morning, and it was all gone by 1 o'clock.
Oh, man.
So, obviously, for a lot of our guests that don't know who you are, so I say a lot of them, I don't want to make you sound like you're not that well known. Would you just like to give everybody a bit of an insight into who you are, what you do, and what you may commonly be known for?
Yeah, so obviously Richard Birchett, based down in southwest, down in Cornwall on the Lizard, the very bottom bit. So I'm a wildlife conservation photographer, have been more of a naturalist and a photographer since the age of about 10, really. And I'm now 47, so I've been doing it a fair while. So I've always had a keen interest all throughout my military career, but when I left in 2017, kind of pursued it a little bit more as a more serious side, really. So now currently sort of a bit of social media, do workshops, stuff for magazines, things like that. So yeah, it's what I do day to day now, really.
So I think me and Dan both were introduced to you through YouTube. So how long ago did you start doing YouTube?
I think, to be fair, it's about, I think it's like 2.5, 3 years now. So not really that long, but kind of, just sort of got into it really, I guess, because by chance thought, why not share the love of the natural world, really. It was what it was all about at the start.
You do quite well on YouTube as well, don't you? You're doing.
It's all right. Yeah, it's a funny old game. YouTube.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's the starts, really. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, if you like. It's one of those things that you've just got to keep pushing. Even when it took me forever to get to 100 subscribers, and I was always yearning for a comment. At least someone can engage, and keep with it. And I had a lot of help at the start with some relatively well-known YouTubers who now have done particularly well, and that helped me at the start. So, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it more so because I do it just to showcase what you do, but also to help others, really inspire others, and hopefully get people out and about enjoying nature, really.
Dan, have you ever thought about doing YouTube? And
yeah, I toyed with the idea, and then I went down the path that, everybody's doing YouTube at the moment, so that's why I started this, basically.
Yeah, I guess. Obviously, it's been just about a year since I started doing YouTube, and it's been very slow. So I started a year ago. I've currently got 415 subscribers, which weirdly enough, I got 13 of them yesterday. That was a weird day.
That's good. That's good. Yeah,
but you'll find I bet you'll have found in your early days, you'll have a period of time where your channel will be alive, people view everything, you'll get loads of subscribers, comments, and then you'll have like a month where it's dead and you get nothing.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It's especially for the UK. Bad weather. Obviously ratings go up when the weather's bad in the country because people stay in and watch YouTube. It's kind of, and if it's nice, people should be out, rightly so, enjoying, the countryside, etc. So it's a weird one. No one can ever predict the algorithms, the way YouTube properly works, because it's just an absolute minefield. But it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think wildlife photography in the UK. I mean, there's some big names. Obviously, there's yourself and like Jeff Cooper, Simon Eardley, and stuff like that. From what I watch and stuff, I don't think there's actually a huge amount of wildlife photographers that do YouTube that are based in at least England or Scotland. That outside of that kind of small circle of them, I see a lot of others, but there's not a load amount of people that actually do really well on YouTube. Obviously, I could probably. I watch a lot of YouTube, but I tend to watch the same YouTubers each time. I could probably name maybe 5 or a wildlife photography specific. And like I say, you were one of the first that I watched back in when I first started doing it yourself, along with Tom Mason. I watched a lot of his.
He's doing all right, I think, Tom, isn't he?
Yeah, it's the effort that he puts into his videos as well. They don't release them often, I've noticed, but when you watch them, they're so carefully thought out and a lot of time on his hands to be able to piece something like that together. Dan, do you watch much YouTube?
Yeah, it's a lot. There's normally a lot of crap that I watch on YouTube, but there's a few wildlife photographers I watch. So I watch you, Richard. I watch you as well, Corey, sometimes when you eventually upload. And then and then Richard Campion as well, My Wildlife Images.
Yeah.
He's doing pretty well on Instagram at the moment.
Yeah, he's a nice bloke, Rich, actually.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Yeah, really nice bloke. I chat to him on the occasion. He's actually coming on next week.
Oh, nice one.
He is,
yeah. He's, maybe the week after. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, lovely guy.
Week after, mate. Week after.
Yeah, one of my kind of favourite UK YouTubers, I love Jeff Cooper. I met up with him a couple of weeks ago when I was up in Scotland, photographed mountain air, spent a good day with him and stuff like that. Real lovely bloke.
Yeah,
he obviously... didn't he, when he had his child?
And I started mine. I've got a young child, and I'm sort of, I was sort of the parent at home. My wife worked when I left the military, so it's one of those things when you do, like, Rich Campion's just literally had a child recently as well. So, it does take a toll, and YouTube's a bit of a time zapper. So, it is kind of one of those things. But Jeff has actually helped me as well. One of the guys when I first started to give me a few pointers and stuff like that about thumbnails, tags and all that sort of stuff. He helped me as amongst many others. So yeah, he's top bloke, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that kind of stands about like people like yourself and Jeff is they're willing to help others, because I know it's, especially with YouTube and like Instagram, there's a lot of people out there that don't want to help others in case they worry that the spotlight will be taken away. But I think the first time me and you actually spoke, I dropped you a message on Facebook just saying like, oh, I've been watching your videos for a while, I'm just getting into YouTube, do you have any advice? And you actually, you gave me a call, didn't you? And we sat and
out the message. And, I say Jeff helped me, the guy in the UK. Obviously, when Morton first started, he was, he had he didn't have very few followers, but he had probably under 1,000, maybe just over 1,000. And we talked regularly. He helped. Tron Westby helped me as well. And in fact, it was Tron Morton and actually Jeff Cooper, that ones that really helped me get going. So yeah, happy days. Obviously they're, Morton's far too busy now doing stuff, but
yeah, he's a big boy now, isn't he, Morton?
Yeah, he's kind of, chicken and egg. He's kind of broke the mold in Europe. Really, I think he's kind of one.
He's probably the biggest wildlife photographer on YouTube, I'd say, probably in Europe.
Yeah, definitely.
Or up there with them. I mean, Morton's. I've noticed the past couple of days there's a couple of videos popping up that he's released, which I haven't actually watched yet. I love his videos because he puts so much time and passion, and you can see the passion in him when he's doing it. And I think that's very important. If you're going to be on YouTube and you're going to be getting your name out there and stuff like that, you can't just, because I noticed when I used to look at my old videos, I looked so, maybe not terrified, but kind of tight, and I just didn't see the pause. Jeff's, Morton's, Trond as well. He's I've got him on Facebook. I've spoke to him a couple of times and stuff like that, and lovely bloke. And I mean, his videos are, again, the similar kind of, you can see the passion and the love for the wildlife that they do. And it's definitely, I mean, we spoke about this a few times, haven't we, Dan, about wildlife photography. It's not something you get into because you think you're going to get a bit of money from it. You need the
absolutely
passion.
No way.
It's got to be something you've got to enjoy.
It's passion based. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely passion based, and watching these YouTubers like Morton and stuff like that, or I suppose it's not, you don't just see the passion, but I think definitely inspires passion as well, because I think when you watch a passionate person, it makes you become passionate yourself.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think one of those things, I was a naturalist way before I was a photographer, and the passion has never left. It's always there, I think. But when you watch others, like people who are doing particularly well, and the skill set has gone from when they started out to if you watch one of Morton's when he first started into what he is now, obviously he does a lot of it himself, but you think there's a vast improvement there, and it's something to aspire to then improve yours, because I'm a stills man, not a video man, but you have to throw video into YouTube, as without it, you just can't do it. So, talking on camera is no issue. It's just producing video of the subject. But yeah, it's a tricky balance, but they're good to watch. I mean, Morton always is one, he pops up and I'll like leave it for a bit and I'll sit down, quiet evening, feet up, fire on, and then just crack on and watch a sort of a 30 odd minute video of Morton's, which is always a pleasure to watch, really.
Yeah, you definitely need that with his videos. You work on the computer at home or something. I love one in the background, but videos like his and stuff, you definitely need a nice cozy night with a coffee, just to sit and enjoy them. Yeah. So obviously YouTube is a tough game, and I want to go away from that a little bit, because I come from a very military background, and I actually want to know what you did in the army when you were in the military, when you was in there.
Yeah, so I was in the Navy, so a little bit different. I joined the Navy in '95. I was a tactical systems specialist on submarines, actually for nuclear submarines, for 5 years before I transferred over to the Fleet Air Arm, and I became a survival specialist then. So I taught and instructed aircrew on sort of desert, Arctic, jungle, sea survival, and also escape and evasion tactics as well. So that's what I did for 18 years after I left submarines. So
cool.
Yeah,
it is really cool.
kind of a bit different. I think wildlife was always part of my life, but it kind of took a back seat really whilst I was in the military because it was quite all consuming. Back in the day, sort of mid-90s on a submarine, out of the Cold War, and you're sort of still in it because you're away. You get 3-4 months under the sea without daylight. So then that's quite tricky. So for me, I found that quite difficult. So then, before I left submarines, I managed to escape from them and then transfer into the survival world, which was great. And it took me all over the world, and in varying environments, which was brilliant. And but then wildlife started to creep back in, certainly toward a photographer, but it's difficult when you've got a job, you've got commitments, you're in the military, you're owned by the military, you can't really do anything. Yeah, it's hard work, but it's good to leave. And then
but when I left college, I went to join the Navy. I'd started to do my all my initial tests and fitness, and I think I got about, I want to say 10 weeks into I passed the test because we have quite a few barracks in Hull. I'm trying to remember because bloody hell, this was 8 years ago now. No, 7 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then when it kind of gets to the point where there's a point in there before you join the army, after you've done these tests and initial kind of bits of training or whatever, and there's a point of no return. And I think about a week before that, I found out I was having my eldest son. So I dropped out, and I don't have any regrets really.
No, definitely not.
Kind of now I think it was just I left college. I wanted to do something. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Obviously, I instead went down the path of university and stuff. But I mean, my great granddad, before he passed away, he was in the merchant navy. And the stories that he told me of his time at sea and stuff like that was brilliant. I bet you've...
they've got some great... I mean, I've worked with sort of Royal Fleet Auxiliary and a bit of merchant as well. But yeah, I mean, life like that is quite similar to the Navy, I guess, but with slightly less slightly less strict, I guess. But it's an amazing thing to do, and it's what your true desire to do. But unfortunately, when I was back in the day, being a wildlife photographer or being into wildlife was not seen as something particularly trendy. At school, it was a mick take because you like birds, So for me then, it was always, but I've always had the interest. People have inspired me from a young age, but I'm glad that it's always been there and never left. It's like many hobbies that everybody has. They're like fads. You have a hobby and it just fizzles out. If you're fishing, if you're doing something else, it kind of fizzles away. But with the natural world, it's always been there. It's never left me. So, and it just every day's a school day. So love it really.
Yeah, you say about obviously back in school, you get the mix out of you for being sad. But I mean, it still happens now. I think Dan, you on a regular basis, you get ridiculed online, don't you?
I do, mate. Yeah, regular. By you as well.
Back there, Dan.
By you as well, mate. Sometimes.
that Harry Potter photo that I'm going to keep on sharing that to this day. That is because I mean, you must have known, you must have had some feeling in the back of your mind that was going to happen.
Oh, what being compared to Harry Potter? Yeah,
that specific photo with the mountains in the background.
I'd never even twigged. I don't even remember. I don't even know what film that one's off. To be honest, I'm going to throw it out there. I've never really watched them, but
oh, you're a letdown. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Did you see that photo on Facebook, Richard, of Dan being compared to Harry Potter?
I didn't, but I'm just trying to find it now.
I'm gonna quickly send you.
I'm not quick enough on the phone though. Damn it.
Where is it? It was only a couple of days ago. It was
only a couple of days ago, mate. Yeah.
There we go. All right, I've just sent you it. It's uncanny.
It is.
Oh yeah, that's on your Instagram, Facebook profile, and Instagram profile, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah.
I'd say you're a trifle better looking though. So
you can come on again, Rich. You can come on again.
You've just been sat real quiet. I suppose when it gets to obviously if anybody listens, they know that I start talking and I
you don't stop.
you know what? Then I try and stop to encourage you to come on and start speaking, and there's like an awkward silence for like 5 seconds. I think shit, I'm gonna have to
because I know there's something working around in your head, and you want to ask another question.
No, I mean, to be fair, apart from obviously last week with Megan, there was a lot of questions there that a lot of people wanted to know. But generally, I just like to go with the flow. And obviously, there's stuff that are interesting, like military. I mean, I say I come from a big military background, especially Susie's family. Her entire family, her parents, her grandparents, everything like that. They were all military. And I love hearing stories about it. I love hearing what goes on. So I love chatting about it. I know it's not entirely wildlife related, but I mean, some of the stories, some of the stuff people have got to do. Like, I didn't know you was in submarines, Richard, working with nuclear submarines.
Yeah, so I was on hunter-killer submarines, so we didn't carry the ballistic missiles, obviously, on our boats, but we were more the tactical side. So, I've been, unfortunately, on the boats I was on, we didn't really get to go anywhere desirable, as a lot of the bombers don't, so the ballistic boats. But, I went to certain very cold regions where you break through the ice and have a barbecue and play football, which is pretty cool. Some places that people will never go, but there's lots of other places that you don't say you go, but it was something different. But to be honest, I think 4.5 years, 5 years, mid 90s, it was a difficult time. It's not really for someone like me who's interested in the natural world. Being cooped up on a submarine is quite hard work. I found that quite hard work in the end, so decided to jump from the boat to a ship, really, or to the Fleet Air Arm. And it was a good move. It was difficult to leave them, but I only really went into submarines because a lot of my friends were in the Navy and none of them were in submarines, and I wanted to do something different. So
rather than follow the crowd. So, this is going to sound so far-fetched, but I really want to ask it. Obviously, you work with nuclear submarines. Was you ever involved in any testing?
What with regards to the ballistic missile firings and stuff?
Yeah, like obviously nuclear weapons, well, maybe not nuclear weapons. But I know back then, obviously, nucleire war with Russia was quite...
I mean, they do missile tests and stuff. We used to go out, the bombers used to go out to America and do test firing and stuff. They have to do their drills. But you used to play, games under the ocean anyway, irrespective of, within your own country or not. So, obviously, certain things you can say and can't say. But, not actually physically. We did obviously do test firing. We did training and stuff. So nothing for real, thankfully. It was quite peacetime, for us then. But obviously there's been conflict since I've left. Since I left boats, submarines, and then moved. And obviously I've operated in the Middle East as well, unfortunately, for a few of the wars there, which was tragic. But it just takes you all over the shop, really. 22 years I did, so seems like go past in a blink, really. But I'm still a reservist now, so I still do like 4 days a month. So I still go into my local my air station at RNS Goldrose and do work in there as a reservist. Still, just keep the money coming in, because it doesn't really pay as a wildlife photographer that much, so it helps.
No, it does not. It's so interesting hearing these stories, though, because obviously all wildlife photographers, everyone seems to think that we're all just wildlife photographers all the time. We don't have a job. We don't have an out. And obviously, I mean, me and Dan have jobs, but to spend that long in the military and to be part of some of the stuff we see, obviously, I know a lot of it is very tough, and the military is not something people should, I don't know, see in like a comic way or anything like that, or try and make out to be really cool and stuff like that. But there are some really interesting stories from, not all of it's going to be war and stuff like that. There is going to be a lot of stuff that you've done, like your survival training and stuff like that. I can imagine that was...
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. Operated all over the world, really, in different environments, desert, Arctic, jungle. It's kind of... It's good doing environmentals, and within that, you can bring nature back into it, because you obviously see when you're there on the ground, you have, close encounters with nature of all types. It's quite nice. You obviously live off the land as well, so you obviously kill and eat. So it's kind of one of those necessities you have to do.
It's like the real life Bear Grylls, isn't it? It's like
I mean, obviously it's the same. It's the same thing, really. I obviously escape and evasion and stuff. Teaching people, you have to then, for credibility, do it yourself. For then to teach it, you can't sort of teach something you can't
just make it up and go on, can you?
You got to I've eaten a fair few animals in my time and birds and mammals, especially from this country as well. So living off grey squirrels for a fair while, but it's one of those things. But if it means that you go without food, or you've got to do it. I'm a conservationist, and I eat meat, but I do it hopefully responsibly and ethically. And at
the end of the day, it's, however responsible and ethical it may be, people are going to be against it, and some people are going to.
Of course,
there's nothing you can do. That's
unfortunately, the world is the way it is, and it's going to upset some people along the way. But you just got to do the best you can, I think. Yeah.
Again, we've got Dan on, who's the perfect example of that. Dan, how many people have you upset this week?
How many people have I upset this week? One.
What? Who? Go on, who?
I can't say who, mate. Well, I won't say the name, but it's a person that abused me for years for using paid hides, and then
that's fine.
I'm sure. I think you've seen the comment that I put on.
No, I've not actually. I've not.
Oh, have you not? Well, I'll show you that. I'll send you it, mate. But I think I upset him.
Yeah,
is that a bit of banter, or is that a bit of tongue-in-cheek banter, or is that some serious?
No,
no, mate, that's serious.
On a weekly basis.
Wait, is that to do with through social media and stuff, or?
Yeah. So Dan is probably the most hated man within wildlife photography in the UK, and I wish I was joking on that as well.
How have I never seen that then? I mean,
Are you in the British Wildlife Photography Group? And the
I don't think I am actually. I was. Is that obviously that's a Facebook thing? Is it?
Yeah.
I used to be in quite a lot of those, but I didn't find them particularly friendly places to be. So I kind of left.
It's probably part of the reason why that you.
I might have to join that one and have a look.
Yeah, it's funny. You get some funny people. Funny people.
Dan will post something.
Yeah.
Dan will post something, and somebody will comment on it, giving him a bit of constructive criticism, and Dan's just like, "Nah, I'm not having that," and he just starts throwing out the C word and the F word.
No, hang on a second, reverse. No, I don't.
No. But he's up there with. I always joke about how long his block list is on Facebook and how many people have got him blocked on Facebook, and he's. I don't know. You don't really hold back, do you?
No, I've got to the point now where it's been relentless for so long that it's just it is what it is.
It's hilarious.
If you give it, then you're going to have to get it back.
If someone's going to give it, you got to give it back. At the end of the day, it's not like you're targeting someone horribly. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but it's one of those things, isn't it? I think social media it's a tricky place, isn't it? I mean,
oh, absolutely, it can be a minefield sometimes.
Social media and the keyboard warriors.
Yep.
And me and Dan actually met and became friends through abuse that he was getting on a hedgehog post.
Yes, we did. Yeah, that's how it all started.
About 4 years ago.
Yeah,
doing YouTube, I mean, I get it quite a lot. I get comments on my YouTube videos of people trying to give me crap and stuff like that. Is that a regular thing for you, Richard, or do you find that you don't really get that anymore?
So I personally, I don't, not as much now, but back in the day, I think when I first started, I did, and I think it's hard not to. I mean, to be honest, fairly thick-skinned. I'm not too worried about things like that. But I've chatted to many other, YouTubers in the UK that do get quite a lot of hassle and some stuff which isn't particularly nice. And I do occasionally get the odd comment. And I've got, if you go to a certain section on your YouTube channel, you've got a list of people that you've banned. That you can just basically get rid of them because they give you a stupid comment, just want to give you a bit of a bit of sort of a bit of slagging match going on. I just end up just deleting them and then banning them from the channel because I just can't be bothered with it. But nothing really bad, actually, thankfully. But some people do get a lot of hassle. But you're going to get it. I mean, I think because people think just because you're on YouTube, they think that. You know it all, but you don't. It's it's just every day comes down or give you a bad comment for whatever reason. You've got to back it up with some evidence, and then you can just chat about it. And everybody needs to learn, But unfortunately, there are people out there that just target people for the sake of doing it. I mean, for instance, every single YouTube video I bring out, there's a person that comes on Monday morning, the same probably person with multiple accounts will always give me 2 thumbs down on a Monday morning between the hours of 8 in the morning and 10 in the morning. And they'll go,
you caught me out.
So it's you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, one's me, the other one's Corey.
I think
so you get that. I mean, but it's just like, but end of the day, man, I think when whoever's giving you those thumbs down, which really don't make a difference, it's all interaction and engagement. So they're actually doing you a favor anyway. So I suppose,
It's what me and you say, don't we, about this podcast? There's some people on that listen to this that absolutely despise and hate every second of it. But it's just all
really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we've got a really good sponsor. So our main sponsor, I don't want to use their name just in case they're not too happy about it, but it's the best pine Martin had in the northeast Scotland, and they regularly give us really good advice on our podcasts. So our podcast should be 10 minutes long, for example, because nobody wants to listen to 2 hours. What else was it, Dan?
People switch off after 20 minutes. You don't know what you're talking about, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're clueless now, brothers.
Yes, clueless, that's the word.
And we loved it, and we took every bit of that and took it on board and changed the podcast.
And we now do 2 hours.
45 minutes, we've made it 2 hours.
I think as well, a lot of the people that, if you look at the individuals that do give you the thumbs downs, or not the thumbs downs because you can't necessarily find out who that is, but people that give you the comments, that give you a slating, you actually can look at themselves, what they produce, and they don't usually produce anything. It's kind of, it's very easy to stand back being anonymous and, just give people a bit of grief for it. But, I think I've had a few in the past, but, I think about it for 24 hours and I think, I'm not going to mind, just move on and that's it, forgotten. But, it is what it is.
We don't say no to swearing on here, don't worry.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's right. But it's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. You're going to put yourself and a picture of yourself and you put yourself out there on social media.
It's an automatic invitation for it, isn't it?
No, it's loads. It's rife. It's rife for it. But I hope you're not picking up my son talking downstairs there.
No, it's all right. My son's currently having a fight with his mum upstairs because he don't want to go to bed, and I've changed my microphone settings.
Ah, cool. Happy. Filter out that noise on. Yeah.
How old is your son?
He's 6. Yeah,
same age as my eldest. 7 in May, my eldest.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's
I do love seeing the photos that you put up and stuff like that. He's very intrigued in what you do, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And I think the thing about getting kids into nature, especially your own, is that because your passion is so you've got such a passion for it. I think it's the case of anything. You don't want to ram it down your child's throat too much to make it too much. So I just sort of put it in there for him, just drop a little bit in. If he likes it, he takes an interest. And in fact, the last couple of weeks, he's got a bird book I gave him for Christmas and he's reading passages on certain bird species. He's got his favourites, So just to drop it in there, but don't overdo it. And if he gets an interest, as long as he can take the message away that he needs to look after and appreciate the natural world, I think, he knows all about the pollutions in the oceans. He just knows about plastic. He knows about all those responsibilities that he needs to do as a young lad, and in taking that into the future. I think, just a little snippet of that, I think will just go a long way. And if, I think that, you win-win already. It's kind of cool, really. I think it's lovely. Yeah. I've
said I've got 2 kids. My eldest Riley, he'll be 7 in May. My youngest Teddy, he's 2 in a couple of weeks. And I said to Susie, my partner, like if they want to do it, they can do it. If they don't want to do it, they don't have to do it. No. The pleasure of having 2 kids is at least one of them might go my way and enjoy it. And we always joke. My eldest Riley, he's a geek. He sits and plays Minecraft. He loves coming out and having a look for the wildlife and stuff like that. And my youngest Teddy, he's just going to be like some dumb rugby player because he's an absolute thug. So that's, I'm happy with that. He is brutal. And the problem I've got at the minute as well, he's at the repeatable stage. So I don't want to announce all my bad parenting that I do on here, but my child has spent the last 3 days running around calling me a word that he shouldn't be calling. And Riley, my eldest, when he was a little bit younger, I'm very potty. You probably both see on Facebook, and Dan, talking to me, I swear like a soldier. Obviously, Rich, you don't seem to. I don't know if you do in person, but over here, your language has been mild. And
I try. I certainly try not to on social media as much as I can. As much as I would love to go to town. Sometimes I'm very diplomatic in my ways. Yeah.
I try to be, but when you're at home, and I play video. And my eldest, if he accidentally swore, he would go into a meltdown for days, being so upset about it. just a different, and he's going to be that child that in 10 years' time he'll be coming out with me with his camera while my youngest is kicking a ball around for an hour and then just doing nothing. It's great to have two kids because you can split up that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought about having a second, but we got another dog in the end. But
better choice, trust me. Do not have two kids at all. I think
if you can just impart something onto them about just now and then subtly, without ramming it down their throats because they just go the other way. I think,
if you make it too forced, it can put them off easily. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. And they come in their own time. I think because they are the future and because, you guys are younger than me, but a lot younger. And you just got to give them some, I mean, I do a bit with schools and stuff, education piece as well. I would like to do a lot more, but I think as part, it's not just about taking pictures. It's about education. It's about getting around. It's just
you need to know your species, don't you?
Yeah,
you need to know what you're looking for. You need to know the habitats that you're in. It's such a broad. I mean, when I first got into wildlife photography, 10 years ago, whatever like that, my education was poor. There was a lot of species. I could probably name about 15 species of bird, and the habitat wise was.
Sounds like me every time you do a quiz.
Yeah, well, you're going to be thankful that I don't actually have one ready for you today because I thought about it and then I thought, do you know what, right? I'm just for like the 8th week in a row, I'm going to make you look like a mug on social media. So I'm not going to bother. Do you know what, right? I was going to do one for Richard. I was going to do because you're quite big on your field craft and stuff, aren't you? And I was going to piece together a little quiz for you, and then I completely forgot. So.
Put me on the spot there, but
that's what I like to do.
I think it is all about, and I try not to steer the conversation my way, but it is all about, understanding the subject, study, it's fieldcraft, it's that's sort of part of it. It needs, unfortunately, and people are trying to go from, the start to the finish so quickly that they're not really bothered about what happens in between, and actually. The welfare of the subject, etc., is kind of like paramount about everything. But unfortunately, some people know about it and just can't be bothered with it, and some people that do it but aren't really aware of it. So you just got to cater for all, really. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but yeah, I think it's one of
the rabbit hole. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, it's such a. I mean, you guys, you've been interested in it for quite a long time, and. Since the dreaded COVID stuff, obviously people in the outdoors and cameras and photography and wildlife has become a lot more popular than it used to be. And, things like Spring Watch has done masses for people's interest in the natural world as well, but also there has a negative side of it as well. But I think, part of like myself as a photographer is trying to impart a little bit of ethics through YouTube, through social media without being, to ram it down people's throats because people will just spit you out. It's kind of sounds vulgar, but you're just trying to. It's a fine balance, really. But I think the way things are going at the moment, unfortunately, I think it's just going the wrong way in my mind. But
the thing is, me and Dan speak about this a lot, and we often get onto rants about people that preach but don't do it, and we know far too many people like that.
Yeah,
and Dan, this is part of the reason why you get into a lot of arguments on Facebook, isn't it? It's because we've got to a point now where if we're quiet, then people might actually start listening.
No, I mean, Dan, like it's good that Dan speaks up and does his bit, especially through the groups on Facebook, and he stands his ground ethically or whatever, however they come about. And I think you do need that, and I think because I'm quite diplomatic and I'm quite aware of. Because, your name's out there, you're all over the social media, people can find out. It only takes one or two people to find out who don't really like you and target you and stuff. So you've got to be careful, and especially you've got families and stuff. It sounds daft, but you have got to be careful. But I think you need to bang the drum. I think you need to upset, unfortunately, to make change. But hopefully
it's the only way of getting through to some people is by, just being straight to the point. And if it, pisses a few people off and upsets them, then so be it. But, if what I've done then has affected the behaviours of one other person, then that's a job well done for me.
Yeah, well, no, indeed, mate. Indeed. And that's the thing. I think, for many years I was just see it happen and then just sort of thought, not the way to do it, move on. But actually now it's not all about capturing an image anymore. It's all about telling a story, and like you say, if you can make one person out of 10 realize what they're doing is, not right, then I think that's a win all round, really.
I mean, it happens up at my. We spoke about it, didn't we, Corey? About we covered an episode of ethics just before we had Megan on, and how as photographers or wildlife photographers, you need good ethics, and we touched on a point about people disturbing barn owl nests up at my local location, and I confronted them. I took photos of them and sent them to the Barn Owl Trust, and they've not done that again. So
snitches get stitches.
Snitches do probably get stitches, but
especially in Bradford.
It's quite shocking what people will do to get a picture. And you say about barn owls, and I was on a reserve local to me, and there was two people well known to me. One of them I quite respected. He was a youngster, and I was, as you do, I was in a ghillie suit in a hedge and watching the barn, and I actually witnessed these both had mobile phones. One end of the barn, there's an apex, an old World War II hut, Nissan hut type thing. And the barn owl has a choice of two windows, and it went out. Basically, one person went on one side, banged on the door, whilst one was at the other end with a camera ready to take the pictures of the barn owl flying out. And they're on the mobile phones communicating, right, I'm banging now, it's going to come out the window, get ready with your camera, sort of thing. It's just things like that, it's just like, man,
people care more about than the image than they do.
Yeah, and it's just
the impact.
Like, really, it's a shame, isn't it, really? Because it's all about likes. We all like a few thumbs up, we all like comments, we all like all that sort of stuff, but it's not the overriding factor at the end of the day. It's the welfare, and unfortunately people are just not getting.
People are just trying to pursue the likes and pursue this sort of fame persona.
Yeah, it's the fame thing, but it's just, and it actually saddens me massively, and it really does, because and now kind of sometimes, when I used to be like, now I'm quite embarrassed sometimes to do what I do, because I've met many people and they say, what do you do? And I said, I'm a wildlife photographer. And they're like, oh my God, you can't get close enough, sort of thing, And it's just, we got such a bad press, because unfortunately there's a lot of people out there who don't do things responsibly, and they tar us all the same brush. And it's such a shame. And sometimes I think, God,
I had it last year. I went to a spot just outside of York to photograph some otters. One of my friends was kind enough to point me in the right direction, found this spot, and it was alongside a public footpath, and there was a nice big lake. Surrounded by this lake, there was just a row of houses, and didn't think much of it. And I'm sat at the edge of the lake, tucked away. I had some camera netting over me and like a waterproof poncho. So I was hidden in the path, not like sat in the water or anything. I just tucked away nicely. And I had a woman come up to me. Obviously, didn't know if she wanted a wildlife photographer or anything like that. And I got all sorts of abuse for being there, saying that I've had wildlife photographers get into my garden, you're photographing my house and this like that. And I was like, no, I'm just here to get a few photographs, and then I'm going to continue with my day. I'm on a public footpath. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm sat here. I definitely don't want to photograph your house. Trust me. And it was the fact that I didn't know this at the time, but a lot of people had been coming to this location over the weekends, and people are lining up all over the paths. People are lining up around people's gardens and stuff like that, which understandably will piss off a few people. I'm not going to be happy if I go in my garden tomorrow and there's two people, one person in my garden, one person in my neighbour's playing bloody squash or something like that. It's you don't want to see it, but at the same time, that behaviour, even though I was not doing anything wrong compared to them, I still got the backlash from it.
Yeah. It's like that location for the long-eared owls near me, isn't it, mate?
When we were getting photos taken of us last time.
We were getting photos of taken of us from another photographer that at the time I was semi-mates with. And it's just weird, bizarre behaviour. But it's become such an oversaturated location now that, people are trespassing on the farmers, private land, and it's affecting us who have that relationship with the farmer now. So we knew about that location 3 or 4 years ago, and maybe it was only 5 or 6 of us that knew about it. But I guess this falls onto the negatives of social media.
I think
it can be used to share so many locations at the drop of a hat. Within seconds, 50, 60, 100 people can know about it. And that's what happened with our location.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there, Dan. I mean, that's the thing. It's what I think when you do post an image, or when you do, subject and environment or whatever, you just got to look at your landmarks, where you are, be sensitive to your location. Because I mean, when I first started off on YouTube, I got hammered by a local organization because I did a vlog on peregrine falcons and along my local stretch. And, rightly so, I did everything as I should have. I didn't have a license. I was away from the nest site, et cetera, et cetera. But, they picked me up on it. Why would you, show where you are with the species? And I made a mistake, and I think although it didn't lead to anything, nothing happened. It was just, I was talking about licensing. You can't go near the nest, all that sort of stuff, the caveats to Schedule 1. And, but I realized that when I was vlogging myself, I was vlogging my environment, and they can pick out where I was. And subsequently, other people who follow me on YouTube went to that location. So, that has a knock-on effect. So I'm now more aware of, private land, or I'm aware of don't give away areas, because I assume that people would just listen to what I say and appreciate it's Schedule 1, it's sensitive. I mean, I've got a license for peregrines, but it's things like that you got to stop and think about your actions. You're posting where the location is, and I think we all should be responsible for doing what we're doing on social media, really.
And I agree. I think it's so. I for one am so mindful when I'm out and about taking photos. So my foxes, for example, down in London, I'm so mindful of photographing. It's in a graveyard. Everybody knows it's in a graveyard. But I'm so mindful about, including names in graves, on the graves and stuff in the photos, because I just know, all it takes is somebody to jump online and they can find exactly where that is and ruin it for everybody else. I won't take you to it. No, I won't take anyone to it.
No, I'm. It's nice to come along to some subjects like we mentioned, the Gerts and stuff like that. I'd love to come along and do that. But there are some like foxes. I don't need to travel to London to photograph foxes. I can put a couple of days working around the corner from my house and photograph them. I'm just lazy and I choose not to. The past 6 months with me, Dan knows I've had a lot going on in the last 6 months, so I've not really had the energy or the efforts to do stuff like that, and that's fine. I'm not then going to jump on other people's locations because I haven't had the time or the ability to actually get out and do it.
Like someone we know, Corey.
Yeah, like someone we know. This is what I mean, Richard. We aren't bothered about outing people. It's
very subtle hints of people we know that act like they shouldn't act.
And you're going to get people like that across the hobby. You are going to get people that are like that, and you just got to figure out who's there for the experience or who's there just because they want a quick location from you.
Yeah, it's quite shocking. I think you never expect people to do things, the way they do, and I think you think everybody's the same, has the same ideas as you, but unfortunately, that's just a silly way of looking at it, I guess, because people just are all different, aren't they? And it's just quite sad, really, that the way things are going. And unfortunately, most people are going the wrong way about it. And it's just a shame, really, isn't it? The poor old wildlife doesn't half suffer, I think.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I've got a dipper location that I go to, which thankfully, there's one about 5 miles away, which people kind of flood. And then we were out hiking through the area, seeing what we could find, and we just found a little nice spot. And so far, nobody knows it. And I don't drive, and I invited one of my friends to the location, obviously, if they're happy to drive. And I think about 4 months later, they sent me a message. Obviously, we in that 4 months, they didn't just leave me. Like, we're still very good friends. We still spoke. But I got a message saying, "Oh, I've got a day off tomorrow, and I wouldn't mind going up and photographing differs. Would you be insulted if I went up to this spot on my own and photographed him?" I think I don't earn that spot, but like, I appreciate the courtesy of like, this is something that I found. And one of my friends has then messaged me saying, "I know you found it, but do you mind if I go and photograph it?" And there's some people that I would never in a million years take up to that spot because, it get hammered every single week. But there's some people that you can trust. And I think that's the fine line in wildlife photographers, knowing the people that you can trust, knowing the people that won't abuse these locations.
It's knowing the people, yeah, that you can trust, and identifying the people that are just using you as a library of locations.
Yeah, I mean, that happened. You must get that, guys, as well. When you're doing stuff that people say, "Oh, where'd you get that? Where'd you see that? I won't tell anybody," sort of thing. But then subsequently they do then pass that on. It's kind of, I guess it's one of those things when you never meet someone through social media, as in face to face, it's quite difficult. But I think, I think no matter what level you're at, I think we've all got to do our bit, haven't we? Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, wildlife, it's not ours. Like if I find a spot, I know it's not mine to keep. It's not, but it's then our responsibility to, like we spoke about this last time, then it's our responsibility to preserve it and to protect it.
Exactly. And you know, it's what we were doing with the long ears until some prick managed to create a Facebook page for it, then pin dropped it everywhere.
What a bird as well. I mean, I've never even seen one. We don't get any down this way, unfortunately. I would love to photograph them. You know, I really would. Hopefully one day. I think they're up your way a bit more than they are down here, I think.
Yeah, we know a few good spots, don't worry.
Yeah, mine's the spot that I know of, or that I have known about for a fair few years. It's a breeding spot as well, so it's a nesting spot. So you get the owlets as well as you get
we had such
male
a
and
good
female.
experience with them, didn't we?
You did. I didn't, because of the person walking in front of my lens.
Yeah, but if you don't remember, this is when I didn't have my mirrorless stuff, and my camera lost focus so basically we were walking down this path and the long-eared owl took off from a tree, flew right at us and between us, and I lost focus on it.
Oh, nightmare.
But it's an incredible location until, you know, it gets overshared, and I think that's just going back to what you said, Rich. It's so easy for people, these locations, to just get plastered everywhere, and you know, there's that one person that says, "Oh, I promise I won't tell anybody. You can trust me," and then find out they've told 30 people.
I mean, it's not having a dig at Twitchers, but it's like the Twitcher version of the wildlife photographer, isn't it? That,
yeah,
you know, we turn up with multitude of cameras, and how close can you get? And yeah, but thankfully, I mean, quite lucky in Cornwall because we don't really have the concentration of wildlife photographers that, especially where I live. And I'm really quite lucky because most of the places I don't see a soul. You know, it's a long-winded now conversation, could go on, but you go to the Isle of Mull, which is an amazing mecca for wildlife. But unfortunately,
it's become so commercialized.
That's kind of getting pretty bad. Yeah. And I also, you know, look at myself when I did YouTube videos that promoting the Isle of Mull for a top place for wildlife photography. And it is, but I just, you know, hoping to get the message across there again. But, you know, it's not just my videos. I mean, loads of people been doing stuff up there, and it's a great.
I've done about 8 videos on Mull.
Oh, it's just fantastic. I mean,
Dan's still never been.
I've never been.
I mean, he needs to go. I mean, I'm leaving it for certainly when I'm going to live in Canada, but when I get back, you know, I'd like to go again, and hopefully things will be better. But I just didn't have a very good experience last year. But the year before was just golden. It was an amazing time. Just me and the birds, you know, and the mammals there. It was great. But yeah, it is a sad state of affairs, and I think, like say, the wildlife photographers, you were going back to saying before about the farmers. You know, farmers were entrusting with certain people, and then suddenly other people ruined it for the rest, and they end up sort of saying, "Look, no more access," type thing. You know, it is a shame. And I just going back to the point about people's perceptions of wildlife photographers. I was in a well-known coffee shop with my wife, and I parked up in my Land Rover, which is an unusual colour, with my business.
You put your logos all over it, haven't you?
On the side. And this well-known wildlife organisation, 3 staff got out of their named van, and they walked past my Land Rover, and they were both looking at my Land Rover, and they had a conversation. And I was like, interesting. So they came on in, they didn't notice me, and thought nothing of it, but they were having a conversation. So anyway, I went to an event that I was invited to, because I helped some footage about the reintroduction of a species in Cornwall, and one of the people that I saw was actually part of the team there, and I actually had a chat with her, and she subsequently told me that they'd said when they went past, "Oh, look, a wildlife photographer, should we let his tyres down?" Yeah. And they were saying sort of some not nice things about it, and I had to then prove to her that obviously ethically and everything else, that I wasn't just your run-of-the-mill person that wanted to get a picture. So, you know, and that's truthful. And you just think to yourself, geez, you know, this is a wildlife organisation that instantly tar people as a wildlife photographer with the, you know,
the same brush that they target everybody else with.
Like, so you're fighting the white all the time, and you have to justify yourself to everybody, which is really sad, isn't it? Really,
it's different with organisations. There's a location near me which is very popular for things like albatrosses and puffins and stuff like that. And I feel like the wildlife organisation there takes advantage of wildlife photographers that they've started plastering a £5 charge for everybody to come in and photograph there. And yeah, they're every organisation has to.
Or if you go early enough in the morning, you can skip that and just walk straight in, which is what.
Or if you go at any point during the day, you can walk along the normal public footpath and still walk straight in.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, and it's an absolute like knock-on conversation here. But it's unfortunately a lot of camera manufacturers and organisations are all, endorsing this and making money out of it, because I guess everybody wants to make money. I guess irrespective if you're whatever organisation you're part of. I'm trying not to mention any names here, but it is sad, isn't it, that they're just cashing in on it.
I mean, I donate, and I have a membership for the RSPB. I have a membership for the Wildlife Trust, Yorkshire Wildlife Trust, and a few up in Scotland as well. And I pay about £25 a month combined for all of these, for me and my family to go visit these places. And they say, oh, this money's getting used for this and that. But you got to think, how many people are actually paying that, and how much that money's actually getting spent on the wildlife, and how much is actually just getting paid to the owners of the organisation?
Because we all assume that the wildlife organisation's there for a reason, and the wildlife organisation's there to help the species. But actually, is it really? And do we ever see that?
I mean, what's going on at the top?
Yeah, it's just
that is a wormhole. Yeah,
yeah. Let's not do that.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
We'll try and get back on social media. So Dan,
maybe another day. You go back to social media.
Yeah, Dan, my alarm's just gone off my phone that I need to take my tablet. So I'm going to go take my tablets. Do you want to bring us back to social media?
Yeah, go on then, mate. Yeah, nothing like doing it mid-podcast, eh, mate? Oh, he's gone. He's fully gone. He's fully left the room. So yeah, me and Corey touched I think it might have been last week, mate. It might have even been the week before. They're all rolling into one at the moment. We briefly touched on sort of the negatives and the positives of social media. Now, I don't know if you just want to elaborate on the more positive side that you've experienced through social media, for obviously, for your YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would say there's more positives than negatives. I think, I think there's some social media platforms that are better than others. I think Facebook, to be honest, is quite rife with difficulties, I think. But Instagram is quite a friendly platform. Twitter is quite friendly. YouTube, not maybe okay. But I think, so they have negatives with, people giving you, some sort of trying to take chunks out of you. But I obviously, thankfully, I don't get an awful lot of that, which is good. But I think the positives really are for people who are maybe elderly, disabled, people who've had tragedies, etc., etc., and especially through, I hate to say the COVID thing because everybody keeps going back to the COVID thing, but through that sort of time when I live in the country, I'm lucky to have the land I've got. I'm lucky to have the freedom to move, and there's people watching videos that write you emails, personal emails, saying how much you've meant to them through the hard times. And it's amazing. And you're like, actually, you get them sometimes and you're like, blimey, that's really worth it. Despite all the effort, all the flack or whatever, you get an email from any individual. I've had them from ambulance workers I had them to a guy in his like near 90s, to someone in a wheelchair, and you're writing and saying, oh, you make a massive difference to me. Thank you very much. And I think, when you got that, it's a win-win, isn't it? I mean, it's not for everybody and I'm not everybody's taste, but you think to yourself, God, people actually really enjoy it and it's making a difference. So I'm thinking, what more can you say than that? I mean,
and
I've had a couple.
It weighs out the negatives as well when you have positive stuff like that. During lockdown, I was doing, I think I did a photo every single day throughout the whole of lockdown. So I think it was like 100 days, so 100 photos, and a lot of elderly people follow my business photography page, let's call it, on Facebook, and I was just flooded with people that are going through cancer at the moment, and they can't see their families and whatnot, and they're having treatment at the houses or having to go to hospitals, and they were just telling me how much they look forward each day to that one photo at 10 o'clock every morning, and it just outweighed any form of negative.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I know the pressure's on a little because you're making a difference to some and they're a bit sort of down, so why didn't you release a video that week, because you're usually every other week or whatnot. But but then again, I guess people know you've got a life, and it's always difficult. But that sort of thing, to me, I mean, educate, trying to like just show people what you do as you do it without any sort of frills, I think, and like you say, you've made a difference to people down, and so have you, Corey, as well. It's a massive win, I think, and you get more of those than you do the negatives. Unless you go on that group that you're part of, Dan.
Yeah, that is definitely more negatives.
I'll be joining that one in a minute. But,
I am back now. I apologise for disappearing.
Right.
I've got about half an hour before I'm knocked out unconscious. So
we don't want you keeling over, man. Yeah. So.
But I don't get it a lot. Maybe probably about 3 or 4 messages since I started doing YouTube, and one person recognised me while I was out, which was surreal for me. I thought this is weird. I mean, there's me with like 150 subscribers. I get 800 views a video if I'm lucky. And this guy came up to me and was like, "Oh, do you do YouTube?" And I'm like, "I do, yeah." He went, "Oh, I watch all your videos, love your work and stuff like that." And however I feel if the guy's listening, maybe, I don't know, you might not be, but if you are, I apologise for how I reacted, because I was a little bit taken aback by it. But it's just, it was weird. And some of the messages that I've had just saying, I love your channel, I've been watching it for a while. And a lot of people ask me for advice and stuff like that. It does make you, to me, that's more valuable than putting a first photo up on Facebook and having, I don't know, there's been a few times I've put photos up on the breaks and 100 comments, people saying I love my image. It's nice, but when somebody personally reaches out to you to say your work is making a difference to them, like you just said, Rich, and like you just said, Dan,
it means a whole lot. It means a whole lot more than
it digs in deep, and it makes it all worth it. And even little things like, right next to me now, I'm just looking at my calendar, and that's a calendar I bought from Dan. Like, sorry, Richard, I didn't buy your calendar. I'll buy it next time. I only have enough. Our house is full of calendars, actually. I won't tell you the other person's calendar I bought because I don't want you to be too offended. I've got Dan's calendar on my wall for the podcast stuff. I've got another friend's calendar on my other wall for my work. Yeah. And I think probably to Dan and to the other gent that I bought it off, stuff like that means a lot more than, like, say, a few likes on a photo. Yeah, no, and it is. I mean, to be honest, I get, you get threaders I say threaders, sorry, it's kind of naval or military speak, but annoyed with, you do feel that you have to commit to the social media just to keep things ticking over. But to be honest, I'm going through a bit of a YouTube lull at the moment. As you feel you need to post, and just to keep things going for the people that want to see what you do. Not for much. It's not all about like the likes, but a lot of people buy likes, and buy followers and all that sort of stuff, which is crazy stuff. Can you do that?
I think you can. Yeah, I was talking to well, yeah, you can apparently, and but I suppose you can. There is a way, apparently, you can do that. And you must get, you guys have got a fairly good Instagram following, your personal accounts and things. You must get people like messaging you and stuff saying, we can increase your...
Oh, God, every single post, every single time I post.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
I had that message once. I'm going to be honest about this because I thought it was hilarious. I got this message come through saying, for $50, we can get you 10,000 likes, 10,000 followers. And I thought, I'm going to play this. And I replied to him saying, "Oh, this is just a scam. Please don't reply to me." And I was like, no, we promise you this is real. We promise you that it's legit and stuff like that. So I said, to prove it, if I want your trust, I want you to share my profile for 1 hour for free, and then I'll buy the full package if I'm happy. And I did it, and I got like 100 followers and loads of likes and stuff like that. And then I blocked him. I know that's a bit cheeky and a bit naughty of me and stuff like that. But as we speak, I've just had a message now saying, the message, when you see this, they have a huge offer for you. If you can't click their username, just accept this message, and you'll be taken directly to their profile from a random account with 2 followers and no posts.
Yeah, like it's just right. It's just rife, his Instagram, with these pay. It's almost like pay to win, isn't it? Pay to get that fame, and it doesn't work. Yeah, I know you can boost posts on Instagram, and it's so blatant when people are just boosting posts to get likes. You can flick through someone's page and they've got the last 5 photos have got, 50, 60, 70 likes. And then all of a sudden there's something with like 2,000 likes on it. And it just doesn't seem natural.
Well, I mean, it's like if you've got someone who's got 20,000 people following them and they've put out an amazing picture and they got 150 likes. You're like, how does that work? It's the same thing with YouTube. I think, YouTube, you can do the same. I think there's lots of people out there that have an amazing amount of followers, and but don't have many people. People subscribe to them, but they don't have many people like what they do. And don't even watch it. So it's kind of, people can see that. If you're an influencer and companies look at you, look at your sort of look at your statistics and stuff, they can tell whether it's just real or false. So the beast, and it's something that I wish, I didn't have to. Back in when I used to take pictures in film, back in the day, without any of that, it was like happy days, and now you got this social media thing where you can take amazing stuff with a phone. It is hard. It's hard work, and it's
it's almost like a full-time job trying to manage your social media platforms these days.
I mean, it's kind of, it is what it is, I guess, and it's not ever going to change, I don't think. But it's enjoyable. But the positives are that people engage, people watch you and people who don't get the chance to get out in nature or whatever, wherever they live, whatever. I mean, I've got a few people that who follow me from Ukraine. It's kind of, they're in a war country and they follow me, and it gives them a bit of release. That's pretty good.
Imagine that. There's all the just shows how important wildlife is there. There's all that terror over there. And
it doesn't matter what's going on. There's still people there that look at their phone and then just think, well, nice to have a think about something else.
It's just escape from reality, isn't it, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, it's
my YouTube stats, one of the countries that most engage in my videos and watch my videos is Zimbabwe, and I thought that's brilliant.
That's pretty cool.
Some amazing wildlife over there, and
they want to watch you take photos of a crow in a parking hole.
Oh, that was I really enjoyed filming that video.
It was. It was good. That's just the only one I can remember.
I'll tell you what, they're saying that about, and there's a network of certainly YouTubers in the UK. Now, when we all were all fairly similar following at the time, and I always found it's great to support fellow YouTubers in the UK by, and some further afield, just, with comments, with likes, engagement. And I always like to support each other's channels by watching the full video and then leaving a comment, just to support each other. But actually, it's increasingly difficult. Like yourself, Gory. I mean, I haven't watched yours for a while.
It's because I haven't posted any for a while.
I know whether you have or not, and sometimes you don't get to see it. And it's kind of like, I did at a time religiously watch, fellow, vloggers and stuff, just because you know what it's like being when you're starting out, or even when you're established to a point. It's just to support each other, really. And I think
I'll do my absolute best. Like if you share one of your videos onto to Facebook, I'll
you're absolutely smashing, mate. You are really, and it's great. And people I know, Jeff used to do loads, and I miss Jeff's stuff actually. And because he's got commitments and he's a busy man, he's got a full-time job, and I know he's still out there doing his thing, and I look forward to it when he does, get back into it if he does. But it's a nice community, but there's also other people there that aren't so good, but not many in the UK, thankfully. We're pretty good, and there's a small network of people, and we all chat, and it's all good. So it's a nice community to be part of, really.
I've noticed that. I was a bit worried at first that I'd kind of come into the scene a little bit, and I mean, my YouTube's by no means popular. I'm not out there or anything like that, but I mean, over the past week, I've gained I think 100 subscribers in the last week, which is
amazing,
which is good. Yeah. And I'm taking a bit of a break away from it just while I kind of rethink everything and get back into it, so I can put commitment in. But I was a bit worried when I first got in that maybe the people that I've got, the people that do it in the UK, wouldn't speak to me. But everybody that I've spoken to that does YouTube that are popular, I've got along brilliantly with. And I mean, there's the odd one or two that their video's fantastic.
But the things about you and your channel, to be fair, is you can see the passion, you can see the knowledge, you can see everything about it. Genuine guy that enjoys what he does and that you can see in somebody when you watch something. It's not, and I think he's saying you haven't got that many. Well, you're doing pretty well. You got nearly 500, and I think so. I think you just got to keep plugging at it, and it will escalate and it will get bigger and bigger. But unfortunately, you've just got to be tied in with that damn algorithm thing where you've just got to keep
post regularly and be on top of it.
Every other week. I mean, I'm every 2 weeks now if I can. But to be honest, I'm taking a bit of a break. I've got 4 videos uploaded already. I'm ahead of the game, so I've got a few projects going on. But I'm actually, I've got so much on. But it's one of those things that unfortunately they've got you by the short and curlies, the algorithms on YouTube. you need to like.
I've never heard that before.
You've never heard that phrase? I have.
Short, I know obviously short and curlies are, but I
trying to be like
got you by the balls. No, you can. Don't worry. We're not here to judge. We can beep it out. But yeah, I mean, I used to upload every week, and I'd have like 8 videos uploaded, ready to go, and then that just slowly stopped. And I thought before I start uploading regularly again, I just want to have that good backlog of stuff, and because like you say, you have to obey YouTube's algorithm, otherwise
it's algorithms across all social media though, isn't it, these days?
It is, and
it becomes a battle. It almost becomes a fight with it. I mean, I upload to Instagram every 2 days at 5:55 a.m. every single time, consistently, and it's just knackering sometimes. Absolutely knackering. Yeah. And I'm sure it's knackering for my partner as well, because the alarm goes off while she's in bed, and I'm now having to post to bloody Instagram.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, but it's the nature of the beast, and it's a necessity. Unfortunately, if you want to, and to be honest, I wouldn't do the influencing stuff. I wouldn't have the workshops, the business, the magazine work if I just sat there, took pictures, and I just wouldn't. It wouldn't happen. So I guess it's the nature of the beast, and it's a shame. But what can you do, really? Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm going to post less on Instagram, probably less YouTube, probably over time, especially when I move to Canada and stuff, get myself sorted over there. And then we'll crack on with the YouTube journey while I'm in Canada. But which will be exciting. But yeah, it is one of those things. But I'm getting a bit fed up of it, really, on the Instagram posting thing.
It's easy to get bored of
YouTube, it. Yeah, YouTube's great because I do enjoy doing the videos, and I do enjoy it. But sometimes when especially when you do stuff like a review or you get given something, as soon as you put that you put that product thing in there that you've been given the product and you say it, then it's just, instant thumbs downs and instant sort of, but if you guys, I don't know if you do it, but if you want to look at anything, you want to buy a lens, you want to buy, I don't know, or you look at how to fix a lawnmower or whatever, you go on YouTube and have a look.
YouTube, yep.
Anytime I buy a lens, great. I mean, I'm about to buy a macro lens, a Sony 90mm macro lens, and I've watched about 50 videos on YouTube about this lens to make sure it is the right option for me. Same with every lens, a 100 to 400, 200 to 600. My camera itself, did that decision to buy my Sony A9 came from weeks and weeks of watching YouTube videos through Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and
you get a pattern of what you people pick out the pluses and the minuses of whatever product you're looking at, and then you're like, well, actually, that's pretty good, and it's better than anything that a company you're going to buy it from or to endorse, because it's kind of, they're a bit more one-sided. But I think that's the best way of doing it, and it's a great tool to use, review, and quite enjoy. Yeah, you get free kit, but you put the effort in, you spend time in the field, and you edit it and you do it all. People don't see it like that, I don't think, because people think, it's not easy, and it just helps. I mean, I'll only ever endorse a product that I believe that I would want myself. So if I want something particularly that I want to use for myself, I'll find a company that's decent, that does what it says on the tin, and then I'll approach them and say, would you be interested? And they say yay or nay, and then I go for it, and then it works. I get all the time, do you want to do a review on this trail camera? Do you want to do a review on this? I don't know, loads of stuff, and you're like, no, because it's no way am I going to do that. But because if you start just kicking out a load of tap that people want you to do a review on, your credibility goes out the window.
Yeah, this is what you said to me on our first phone call. Yeah. You mentioned about don't just review anything, because if I review a product, say it's brilliant, and then loads of people buy it and it's shit, then it's going to come back on me.
Massively. I mean, or oversaturation of or whatever, and they all say, can you review this scope, trail camera, I don't know, whatever. And then you find out 3 of your mates have already got it in the pipeline and it's all coming out at once. You're like, oh no. And I've actually turned around to a few and said, oh, such and such friends have done this review recently, so I'd rather not. Because
so you don't look like you're following the crowd, and then
and then
everybody
be a bit more unique, it's kind of, but equally, a few of the guys I follow, Syardley is a mate, and he's done a review on a few things, and I'm like, yeah, I like that. And I've been to his place and he showed me a few bits of kit, and I'm like, yeah, I'd like that. That would work for me with the Woodland. So then I've approached that company, and then they've gone, yeah, let's go for it. And I've done a review on it, and it's worked well. It serves both sides. It serves me because it helps me, and it serves them because obviously they get views and probably a few sales out of it. So yeah, it's a win-win, really.
I did some stuff for Nighthawk last year. They gave me a pop-up hide, some waders, and a camera poncho thing. I did a few reviews for them, and they were fantastic. They were brilliant and stuff like that. And I gave them the reviews and stuff like that. I told them exactly how I thought of it, and there were a few faults to the items, and I faults publicly, so they could work on it and fix it. And then I got a message from them 4 months later, maybe, just thanking again because they've actually looked at the sales and they have received a few extra sales than normal. Whether or not it's from me or if it's just coincidental, I don't know. But because I've given that review and been honest about it, and they didn't have to. I mean, I only wanted the pop-up hide, the waders and the poncho. They said, "Oh, we're going to give you these extra if you're happy to do a review on them as well." And I thought they're absolutely perfect for what I'm doing, so I did it, and it paid off. And there's been a few that I've had since then that I've just looked at and I thought, no, I'd rather not. So I just ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things. I think if you hold by that, I had a couple of people say to me, "Oh, you've done Tragopan, you're going to be doing F-stop next, like such and such. If you continue like this, I won't follow you anymore." It's like, fair play, whatever. It's fine. If you don't want to, but it is what it is. It's not a money making scheme. I think if you're up in 500,000 subscribers, then you're probably doing pretty well. But if you're down where I am, it doesn't really, you don't coin in an awful lot. People have a go at you about adverts, but geez, adverts pay a little bit, but not a lot. If people knew what you make and what effort goes into it, it's actually peanuts and it's not worth doing.
I think I've made about £30 from wildlife photography since I've started doing it. Just from selling a couple of prints, I've earned a little bit of money. And if it means doing a few reviews for reputable companies and stuff like that, then I'm happy to do it. It's like I say, it's like you get a bit of gear from it, and you get to advocate a good brand, and especially these smaller brands as well. A lot of the brands that have spoken to me have been very small. Some of them small enough where I've not been too confident in it. Others have been small enough, but you can see the growth to know that I can kind of trust this and give it a go.
It's like when we became brand ambassadors for that magazine, Corey. I only became the brand ambassador because I could see the progression of which it could go in. That was awfully worded.
I followed that tonight, actually. I didn't realise I didn't. But yeah, that's magazine. Yeah, because I looked at your profile before we got on board, and I just followed them back. It looks really good, actually.
Funnily enough, Dan, they actually messaged me back yesterday.
Oh, did they? What did they say?
Yeah. Well, because I was an ambassador firm, and all of a sudden I couldn't access anything, and they just all this stuff, and I messaged them. I was like, I've been deleted from this and that. Am I still an ambassador? And they read it and didn't reply. And then they messaged me yesterday saying, "Yeah, Corey, we're really sorry," and stuff like that. Yeah, we've had a few issues here and there. Yeah, we still love your work because you're still an ambassador. I was like, we are getting on for an hour and a half now.
Is that how long it's really been? We could have.
We do chat on. So before we wrap things up, there is one thing I'm kind of interested to know. What is on? So whereabouts in Canada are you moving to?
So for the first year, we're going to live on the outskirts of Toronto. My wife's going to be based there and doing her sort of thing in the military there, and then we're moving to Ottawa for 3 years. So
wow,
I'm very jealous.
Very jealous.
I won't mention his name, but one of the guys that I'm friends with on social media, I'm trying to increase my sort of connection with people in sort of that area, really, in Canada, sort of North America, just for advice and just for places to go, etc. But he said to me, well, basically where you're going to be living in Ottawa is the snowy owl capital of the world. And I was like,
there's going to be a bed for.
Yeah, no problem. But I mean, it's going to be amazing. And the chickadees are like Tit's family, and the other, the buzzards and their hawks, and so the birds are, learning curve for the bird species. But I've got a book, I'm learning, and I've joined a few groups and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. But
it probably won't be till 2025. But we was going to go for our honeymoon, and then we decided like the wedding's too expensive, so we're just going to stay till Lake District. But I think not next year, because I've got Finland, probably Iceland. For the year after, I'm going to try and get across to Canada for 2 weeks. It'd be good to meet up with you while we're over there. And
hopefully I'll be well and truly ensconced in the environment over there, looking at going a bit more off piste into the wilderness. Really, I think that's for me, because the UK, sadly, apart from Scotland and a few other places, you can't truly escape. But I think in Canada, you can truly escape and get lost, as long as I don't get nobbled by wolves and bears. I'll be right. But,
you're all right though. That'd be a way to go, wouldn't it?
A hell of a vlog though, wouldn't it? But yeah,
just POV of you sprinting, just like don't forget to like and subscribe as you get. You'll have to visit. You'll have to visit the. You'll have to visit the ice grizzlies of. Is it Yukon, where it's that cold? The grizzlies fish. They're going for the fish and has to come out of the water. Their fare just freezes. Just get a real nice.
I think I looked at the weather the other day, and I think in the day it was -17, and at night it was -27.
Wow.
So I was kind of like, I mean, it's going to be pretty amazing, but I'll be a duck out of water for a bit. But I'm so well connected with a few people out there that are hopefully going to, when I hit the ground running, hopefully I'll be able to gauge what's going on around me. And there's some great Algonquin, however they pronounce it. The national park there is
there's a YouTuber that I watch. If you want to check him out, Rich, he's called Joe Robinette.
Okay. Don't know of him, so I'll look at that.
He's more like a bushcrafty kind of guy, but he goes all around the national parks up in northern Canada. So yeah, he's great. He's great to get a feel of what to expect. But yeah, I'll ping his link over after this, mate.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'd love to see it. I mean, it's because it is it's totally different environment, really. I mean, I've done Arctic training in Canada, but not to the extent for the wildlife and stuff. So yeah, it'll be a steep learning.
We'll definitely have to. If I do end up going across Canada, I'll have to link. Obviously, I know it's a big country, but I'll link up and sleep in your back garden for 2 weeks.
Happy days. Well, I think we got a big enough place, so you never know. Plenty of bedrooms, so you're always welcome to stay.
Yeah, well, I'll do all right. I'm not one to take up to pass an opportunity like that, so I'll definitely.
Depends if you bring the clan.
Oh no, God no! Do I look like I'm made of money? I live in Hull. I'm definitely not made of money. I mean, I own my own house, but it's a great house. So.
But no, it's been
cheapest in Hull.
Yeah, it's been nice to have a chat, really.
Yeah. So Dan, you'll have a question. So this is Dan's last question of the night. He asks everybody it.
I do.
If you find it weird, then feel free to not answer. But
it's not weird. So I ask every single guest, Rich, what does what you do mean to you? So in your case, what does the natural world mean to you?
Oh, that is.
we always finish really, really, really deep.
Well. I think if I think deeply enough about what I do and about how much I'm connected to it, I think it sounds soft, but I am from Cornwall, so I am definitely down the bottom end. But it does bring a tear to my eye, the passion, and I think, and that has always been there ever since I was small. And I think the overriding factor for me is I love what I do. I could never imagine doing anything else. Now that I've left the military, I think, for me, I just want to make a difference. I just want to help the natural world. I want to do my bit before I go, you know what I mean? So I think for me, just heart on a sleeve there, I think. But I love it. And it just means the world, really. Yeah, it does.
Beautifully put. We always get surprised with them answers. And we've not been let down yet, I don't think, on that.
We've never been let down, no. They just seem to get better and better.
Yeah, that's it. Well, thank you very much for coming on and chatting to us, Rich. I know I know we waffle on for some time and we get a bit off topic, but it's been very nice to have you on. And we didn't actually chat too much about social media, but it's been still been a very good chat.
Oh, we chatted about social media. You just disappeared out the room, mate.
I only disappeared for 30 seconds. So if you hang around in the back for 5 minutes while we wrap up, Rich, we'll quickly check in before you leave.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much indeed.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
That was a good episode, that, Dan, wasn't it?
It was, mate. Yeah, it was very.
Yeah, we always get off topic.
Always.
It's good to at least stick to some sort of topic as well. So yeah, it's I mean, YouTube's definitely a tough game, and like I say, I've decided to take a break from it for a while I kind of replan everything, and big trips coming up and stuff.
I think it's probably one of the main reasons I never got into it, just because. Now, I'm not one to shy away from a challenge, but I think it is, it's tough. It's massively tough. And
speaking of a challenge, sorry, no, we're still talking.
No, that's crowbarred it perfectly in. Donations and our 24-mile Yorkshire 3-peak challenge. So which I have started training for.
I will be from Monday. I've been a bit unwell this week, so I've not had a chance to.
We did our 6-mile walk today. Walking around the quarry is certainly definitely helping.
Got a bit of a gym routine for home plan and stuff like that.
Cool.
But if you're listening, you don't know what we're doing. Me, Dan, and a couple of friends now. We are climbing the Yorkshire 3 Peaks for mental health awareness. We've raised. If you're one of our friends, could you please share this? I know Richard's still in the background. Pop onto my profile on Facebook and share the link. Just share it. Let's get some donations in, because like I say, if we're getting a tenner, then I'll be climbing up to the top of the stairs. That's why it's a tenner. But if we can raise some money, we'll be doing the free peaks at the end of April, and all the money is going to Mind charity for mental health awareness.
Great cause.
Just before we finish, Dan, it's a very great cause. I'm very looking forward to doing it. I'm looking forward to the challenge. That's what you say, challenge. It's definitely going to be a challenge for me. But but please do some donations. Just make it worth our time. Make it worth the charity's time. Obviously, the awareness is there, but
it's whatever you can donate as well. If you can if you can only afford £1, it's more than enough. More than enough.
Yeah, that's it. And like I say, for every £10 I get, that's a mile that I'm going to walk. Down, but
I'm gonna do the whole 24, mate. I'll smash it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And if we can complete this one, we do have plans as well to. We said we're going to do Scaffold Pike after that for another charity, but along the same lines.
Yeah, so we'll do Scaffold Pike, and then I stupidly signed up to doing the National 3 Peaks.
Yeah, I'm not doing the National 3 Peaks, and I will do them, but I'm not doing them in 24 hours.
I'll do them in 24 hours. You've heard it here twice now.
We are going to do a couple more of the peak. You what? Sorry,
did I cut out them?
Yeah, you did briefly cut out. Yeah.
It's
you this time. It's not me.
I know, crazy. Yeah, I've signed up to do the National 3 Peaks all in a day, twice. So you've heard it here twice.
So we're going to do this in April. Then I think August is probably going to be a good time to do Scaffold Pike. You reckon?
Yeah, probably something like that.
We'll get something planned, and we're going to do the others, and it's all going to be for the same cause, but different charities.
Yep.
So yeah, donate. And just before we finish as well, it's my turn to choose the photo of the week.
It is. I've already chosen what I would have picked it to be.
Well, we're always kind of at the same line with this. I'll say what I've chosen first, and you tell me if it's the same. So my photo is a really nice photo of a pied flycatcher by Cotswold Wildlife Photography.
Bang on.
I think it's fantastic.
That's exactly what I was going to pick.
Was it really?
Yeah, that's 100% the one I was going to pick.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, beautiful image. Really good photo. So I'm going to pick that one. Thank you for everybody that keeps submitting. We're now getting hundreds of images and tags and comments of people submitting. So it's really good to see.
It's great.
Cool. Well, I'm done. My throat's hurting and my sleeping tablet's starting to kick in and my eyes are drifting. And there's rugby on the TV I'd like to go watch.
Right. Well, yeah, I'll leave you to that then, mate. Right. As always, guys, it's a massive thanks for me. And until next time, I will catch you all in a bit.
Yeah, so you need to get better on your outros, but thank you very much for listening.
I'm not going to try anymore. I think it's part of the humour.
Yeah, part of the effort.
I've got to be consistent somehow.
That was a joke. I apologise.
I didn't even hear it. You cut out then, mate. I didn't even hear it, so you're all right. You don't have to repeat it.
I said consistently shit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right, thank you very much.
Yeah, this has been the WildTalk podcast, and we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.